Billy Bunny and the Policeman Dog. "Well, that's a relief," exclaimed Uncle Lucky as the ambulance drove away with Old Man Weasel, who had tried to eat up Billy Bunny and his kind uncle in the story before this, and would have swallowed them both if the little rabbit hadn't hit him with a cork bullet from his pop gun, you remember. Of course, it was very kind of Billy Bunny to call up the ambulance to take away the wicked weasel after he had sprained his ankle, but it was also very wise, for who wants a wicked weasel around, even if he has a sprained ankle and can't do you any harm? Well, after everything was quiet and the policeman dog had taken a drink of cider and a cigar, the two little rabbits sat down on the front porch, for it was too late to go to bed, or maybe it was too early, for the first faint streaks of daylight were spreading over the sky. And by the time Uncle Lucky could unlace his shoes and untie his red cravat and wind his gold watch, it would be time to get dressed again. So he and Billy Bunny sat down and waited for breakfast, and by the Japanese cook came out to sweep off the front porch, and when he saw Mr. Lucky left hind foot and his nephew Billy Bunny sitting there, he ran back into the kitchen and dropped 2 eggs on the floor and put the tea into the coffee grinder and the salt into the sugar bowl. He was so excited because he thought it must be way past breakfast time. And then the old gentleman rabbit began to sing, "Never hurry, makes worry. Worry makes you thin. If you're clever, you'll endeavor never to begin." And I guess the Japanese cook heard him, for in a few minutes breakfast was ready, and this time the eggs were dropped on toast instead of the floor. By and by, after Uncle Lucky had smoked his cigar, he and Billy Bunny went out to the garage and cranked up the Lucky Mobile and went for a ride. And when they had gone for a mile or less, they came across their old friend, the circus elephant. But oh, dear me, he was an awful sight. His left eye had a bandage over it, and his trunk was rolled up in cotton, and his left hind foot had an old carpet slipper on, and his tail was done up in splints, and he was weeping great big tears, for he felt dreadfully miserable. "What is the matter?" asked Billy Bunny as Uncle Lucky stopped the automobile. Oh dear," sobbed the big animal. "I was in a 4th of July celebration, and the Roman candles got mixed up with the skyrockets, and the canyon crackers with the pinwheels. And the first thing I knew I was hit in 2,900,000 and a few dozen places, and if it hadn't been for a Pink Cross nurse, I'd be a dead elephant by this time." "Get into the automobile," said Uncle Lucky, "and we'll take you home with us. And in the next story, if the catbird doesn't scratch the dogfish, I'll tell you who broke the springs in the automobile, unless you guess who did before tomorrow night."